The reason is Golden State had 3 days to implement a scheme against the boxing one. Pros don't do boxing ones. But this was an element of surprise. It worked. It worked for Toronto. Golden State won the game.
It worked and they lost.
No, but it worked, Haller. They lost the game, sure.
Right.
Then when they implemented the boxing one, Haller, they were down by double digits. I'm just saying though, it did work. But it did not.
It don't work unless it wins.
No.
Unless you win, it don't work.
No. They had already. No. That's not.
Oh no, it don't work unless you win the game.
The purpose.
Your 40 points. Hold up, your 40 points don't count unless you win the game, right?
No, Haller. The purpose that they implemented the boxing one was to contain Steph Curry. That's what they did it for. A boxing one is geared toward a particular player. So it worked. They shut Steph Curry down, but it came at the expense of somebody else finally stepping up, which was Andre Iguodala, and he knocked down the game winner.
You keep saying they. So just say they held the whole team down. The whole team didn't score, but that one bucket.
But a boxing one is not geared towards stopping the whole team.
But guess so. Somebody think about it. If you got one guy chasing, think about what you're saying. They helped Steph Curry. No, Steph Curry was getting everybody else open, and didn't nobody else make a play. They didn't hold Steph Curry out. Come on, man.
Steph Curry had no field goal attempts.
Yeah, because guess what? We passed it, and nobody else made it a shot. So guess what? It worked for. If I was them, I played the whole game then.
Understand something. Steph Curry. Understand one thing. What you're just saying. You're partially falling right in line with what I'm saying. The boxing one is going to give up a lot of open looks on the perimeter, but it's geared because you got 4 guys on the box, and that 4 guys, they basically playing a zone, a tight zone. Well, that means that the way Golden State, they have a guy rotating over, and he's open on the arc, on the left or the right arc. He's going to be open. They're giving him the ball to not let Steph Curry be able to get his shot off. So yes, Steph was making the right plays. That's why that contributes to why he didn't have any field goal attempts, because it's crazy for him to shoot a ball back there 25 feet out while he's been guarded by Van Fleet. And at the same time, you're giving he's going to pass up an open teammate. So yes, that's what Toronto was willing to do. They were willing to give them that.
Guess what? They lost the game. That's all that matters to me. So you know what? They should have implemented the boxing one in the 3rd quarter. That's when they should have.
Exactly.
Nothing record to put on. That's when they should have instituted.
Yes, absolutely. But my thing is now, the element of surprise is no longer there. Golden State knows what to do. I guarantee you, they're going to have a counter.
Oh, it's an easy counter.
Yeah.
It's an easy counter to that.
I mean, and so that's the thing to look out for tonight is what? Now, guess what? Toronto is going to implement a boxing one. You can't do it for the whole game. You can't. Not in the pro level, professional level. No.
It's funny that you said that. I was watching the game that night. With Benny. And he was sitting there because I guess he won't. I don't know if he liked Toronto, but we almost time out. I don't know if he liked Toronto as much as he won't Golden State to win again. But he kept saying, man, how can you let this one player score? You don't have but one scorer on the floor. He should not score. And he kept saying that. When you got Steph Curry out there, everybody go at Steph. Those other guys not going to score. And guess what? I guess that's what they trying to implement, because they did it in the 4th quarter. So I guess it worked. But they lost.
And what we have also back in Memphis, and what's going on in H-Town, a couple of in Texas, a couple of very important things. We're going to talk about both of them today. But one is there was a referee in Greater Houston who came under fire over some comments that was made on a telephone call and which he rolled off that N word several times.
Right.
And the way he rolled it off in that conversation, you could tell the ones that don't like saying the word, because they'll say the word, then they'll pause and wait on your response. He's saying that was just part of his repertoire. Well, that referee was given a slap on the wrist of a 2-game suspension at the beginning of the season, football that is, high school, and followed with a 3-game suspension to conclude the season. I mean, it would prevent him from calling the last 3 playoff games. Well, guess what? There was a lot of pushback from a lot of the officials. And the conversation came after he had lost the vote for the presidency of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, TASO. He lost by what they said, they heard reportedly 1 vote. He blames the blacks on the South Side for his demise. This referee. And you know what? We're not going to make him be anonymous. His name is Mike Atkinson. Mike Atkinson. And in the Houston Chronicle today, they have a picture, not just a picture, but a good supersized color picture. Ain't that ironic? A colored picture of this white referee standing between. I'm gonna tell you how. Check this out. The picture has him at midfield. Look like it's about to implement the coin flip. On one side, there's 4 football players, like the 4 team captains. Those 4 players are facing 4 other players. And ironically, one team, all 4 of those guys are white. And the other team, all 4 of those guys are black. That's the type of stuff I look at in media. I can't make this up. I'm gonna show you guys this if you're looking on the Facebook feed. Look right here. So this thing is a racist comments forced the referee to the sideline. And then now our good friend Adam Coleman with the Houston Chronicle, he wrote a piece this morning summarizing the results, because the guy that provided that was on the other end of the phone call, his life is changing already. Because there's a brotherhood, there's a good old boy network, and that's one thing to give up one of your brothers, but when you give him up and you help the black folk, especially with President 45 in office, a lot of people get to feel in some kind of way. And what we do is, without further ado, we got Adam Coleman is joining us right now on the Chop Shop. And Adam, I want to bring you in real quick, and we're going up against the break. What's going on, brother? How you doing, Adam?
What's going on, fellas? Always happy to be here, man. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Man, you have a lot to say about this conversation, right?
Yeah, man. This is wild, man. I mean, when you think about the era that we live in, it's probably not a surprise to anybody that there are people out there like this, that there are referees out there like this. But I mean, just the reaction that this story has gotten. I think this was a very important story for us to do, something that we had to do, and it's just something we had to kind of put on front street here a little bit. Just the overall idea and the reaction to the story is like this shouldn't be, refereeing games shouldn't have any influence on young men or games involving young men. There's just a lot of that. We can go through it for hours.
Well, we're gonna go through a few things, because this thing here, this is really important. I want you guys, Adam, hang right there. We're up against the break. We come right back. A matter of a few seconds, guys. We come right back, and we're going to dive into this and let Adam explain to you some of the, just connect the dots for you guys, if you will. Just remember right there, Chop Shop.
You're listening to KHSX Power 101.5.
Yeah, I heard, Baker. There's a difference. There's a difference when we say it and they say it. It really is a difference. When they say it come from the chest a little bit nowadays.
Because they said what they said different. They got a certain benefit. Y'all got to realize that word was invented for us, because they treated us like, was three-fourths of a man. So, let me tell you something. I don't care who taped him and how he got taped. he should not be in position of power after finding out about this, just like Donald Sterling had his team taken away from him, the Clippers. So, Jimmy, I'm not surprised at this, man. Come on. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what is there a new development that happened? Is there a new development that happened that we want to still talking about this? Is there a new development other than?
Oh yeah, it's a new development.
For a year.
I mean, that's what happened yesterday.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because we seem like we're just talking about what happened. I want to know what they. I mean, I know people of other colors don't do that in their private meetings, but he shouldn't be in a. And think about it, it's more like him out there, just running a lot of these corporations out here, running some of these people's jobs out here. So, what do we do?
You say what do we do?
But yeah, what do we do?
What we do is we can collectively, there's several things that people can opt to do, but one is which I mentioned to about a couple of days ago, and that is one thing that can be done is you can take the initiative to collectively ensure that he doesn't, in other words, he doesn't referee, even if he is restored after a year, that he doesn't referee any of the school districts that are empowered by a black athletic director. We put pressure on them AD's butts, and that's one way. That means now if you want to referee over in Jasper, Texas, then so be it. Go ahead on. But this thing right here, at some point now, there's enough black referees they can form their own union, their own league if they wanted to. But would they get the contracts? That's the thing. And I would love to get, if a referee is out there watching, feel free to call the Chop Shop after this segment. We got Adam Coleman in now though.
And you need to join me, Maddie Serena Whitfield,
and Sunshine Anderson
on Audacity to be Authentic
every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. on Power 101.5.
Welcome back to the Chop Shop. Yours truly, Jim Hicks. We got Robert Haller on location in Memphis, but live on the phone with us, Adam Coleman of the Houston Chronicle. And the topic right now is Mike Atkinson, the racist commenting referee. And this is a front cover story of the Houston Chronicle today. 2 articles pertaining to this topic. And Adam, you and of course Jerome Solomon penned one of the editorials of articles. And tell us about, just take us through this thing. What the hell is going on?
So yeah, there was a discovery, and I have to give a lot of credit for man Jerome here, and just kind of definitely helped me out and put me in the right direction here. But there was a discovery with Atkinson. He's one of the state's longest tenured high school football referees. I think people who watch games might not know who that is, but he's well known in the high school football community here in Houston. And was discovering multiple discoveries that of him rapidly using the N-word, and there were tapes kind of put a highlight on that discovery, and then kind of got out. And I think along with that came this open door of, you talk about corruption and fraud, and there's a lot going on at Paso at the highest levels, and just speak to some coaches off the record who can kind of confirm what Mike Atkinson is kind of like. He's kind of always had a white crew, never really had any black men in his crew, unless he's had to, and just some of the words that he used, language that he used, a lot of racism. And this is kind of now been put on blast. This is the kind of man that is kind of at the top of Tasso. And with his discovery, there's also been, once again, kind of a wide open door of a lot of other things going on with Tasso, fraud charges, embezzlement, things of that sort. So there's so many moving parts to this. It's kind of an ongoing story, but his punishment obviously has not fit kind of what's been happening. He's only been suspended for 2 games or the beginning of the season and 3 at the end of the season. So, this is a man that his reputation has kind of been long known, and now is just finally getting out. And I think what's kind of been piquing people's interest in the story is some of his reactions, his own reactions to him being found out of some of the things that he's saying, and maybe kind of almost trying to justify some of the things that he's saying that, oh, I watch BET and I do this and things of that sort. I think a lot of people have seen that quote from Sean's column, and they kind of, appalled by somebody who not only has been found out by saying these things, but almost is trying to justify it. So, again, this is just highlighting something that has kind of been an underlying issue and passed over a long time.
And now the BET comment, and that's thing, Robert Haller's been out of town this week, and he hasn't privy to this. Share with the audience this comment that Mike Atkinson made as a response to this stuff. Now, this is not the original conversation. This is in the response talking to a reporter, right?
Yeah. This is him talking to Jerome. Yeah, this is from Jerome's column, and this is him talking to Jerome. So it's one of those things, and to kind of sum up what he said about BET, and of course this is what has kind of been piquing everybody's interest, but just him basically saying, hey, I watch BET, and maybe I got it from there. They say it on there. They say it on BET. They say, I think he calls it Black Entertainment Television. But he's saying basically, I watch it on BET, I watch BET, and I don't know, maybe I got it from there. That's basically what he said. And I think that's, out of everything, just to know the ground, out of everything, that's the quote that kind of has piqued everybody's interest, is that here's a man, a white man that is trying to justify using the word by saying, hey, I watch BET, and maybe I picked it up from BET. Never mention that, the essential things on BET, and even then, there's no excuse for you to say, just because you watch BET gives you the right to say it or anything like that. So, that's the quote that's kind of really, really disrespecting a lot of people, not just kind of what he's saying in his behavior, but the fact that he's trying to justify it with, such a serious quote like that.
All right, you had a question for Adam. We have Adam Coleman live.
How old is Mr. Atkinson? How old is he, Jim?
Yeah, I can hear this.
Jimmy, did you hear me?
Yeah, I heard. He's asking you, how old is Mike Atkinson?
Yeah, I think that he got him at 60, 65. He's in his 60s. Yeah, he's in his 60s. So he is an older man.
60s. So he's 60-some years old. He's saying he watched BET.
Say one more time. Say that one more time. Yes.
So he's 60 years old. Jimmy, you can't hear me. You just repeat it, Jimmy. I'm saying he's 60 years old, and he said he watched BET.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the thing. He's 60, and that's what he's saying. He's saying he watches BET. But again, do I believe he watches BET? No, I don't believe he watches BET. Again, it sounds so silly for him to say something like that. Especially when you read it and then you kind of try to process something like that. It sounds so silly for him to say something like that. And again, overall, he's just trying to justify what he's saying. Not only did he admit that he's been saying this, he admits that he's been saying these words, but he's trying to justify it. And I think he just dug himself in an even deeper hole by saying that. And it just made people just kind of go, what are you thinking?
And of course, one of our viewers on Facebook, Trey Phillips, just added that this morning on the Breakfast Club that Mike Atkinson, the referee, he made the donkey of the day. So this is definitely national news if it made its way over to New York City, and they're talking about it. I want to read the quote that's pertaining to the BET from Mike Atkinson when he was talking to Jerome Solomon of the Houston Chronicle. Sorry about that, guys. And I was about to say Adam Cole. I knew we weren't talking to you, but here's the comment. I know what it sounds like when you hear those clips, but I'm talking to the person who made the clips. He's referring to. He's in a private conversation, and he's using the word. And I said it a couple of times. I'm a jokester. I listen to things. I watch Black Entertainment Television all the time because I think it's hilarious. I may have picked up something. I don't know. That's this quote from this guy. And he has now the suspension has been modified to a 1-year suspension. Is that enough
It's a grown man, man. Unbelievable.
Is
It's
that enough?
unbelievable.
Alan?
Yeah, are you asking me in my opinion?
Yes.
I would say no. I would say no. And I've seen some comments on Twitter, people saying he should be banned. And I mean, in my opinion, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think there's no way a man like this should be around the game. You know what I'm saying? There's no way, and you just have to think about it. You don't have to think about it too hard when you think about how somebody like this can have an impact on the game and just really influence on young men in general. But I mean, it's simple. It's simple to me. There's really no debate. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was the earlier suspension and then the modification of suspension, and then of course when this story comes out, I know there are a lot of coaches. Some may speak on the record, some may speak off the record, but who would agree with me and say, hey, listen, there's been a problem with this guy for a while, and there's no way he should be around the game.
Wow. So now, what's the end game now? So now the suspension has been added to 1 year. Is there what else do you expect to come out of this, or is that it?
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but So there's a lot going on here. There's a lawsuit. That's the other part of the story that I worked on. Is Joe McCall. Joe McCall. So that's kind of the fallout from these comments that have been made from Atkinson. But Joe McCall has filed a federal lawsuit against these guys. He's kind of been ousted of the Tasso Act. He's the guy that beat Atkinson in the Tasso presidential election by 1 vote. And McCall has a lawsuit against them, and that's something that's ongoing. And McCall kind of uncovered, a lot of fraud charges and people embezzling, members' fees, Tasso members' fees into their personal accounts and things of that sort. And McCall is kind of the one who discovered, there was a conversation involving Atkinson using the N-word, the whole South Side. I think you referred to that earlier, Jim, the whole South Side N-word voting for McCall. McCall is kind of the one who kind of led to that discovery. So that lawsuit, there's going to be a lot coming from that. There's going to be a lot. It's kind of an ongoing story, and now that it's out there, it's out there. But, the thing that's going to kind of keep this thing going is the lawsuit and the holding case right now. So, I'm not sure what's going to happen on the law side of things, but I do know McCall, he's a guy that's he feels like he's kind of been a whistleblower, so to speak, trying to uncover the racism and trying to uncover some of the fraud and embezzlement charges. And because of that, he's kind of been ousted out of refereeing. He was an NFL game clock operator for the Texans since their inception in 2002.
So he works for the Texans as well?
Yeah. Well, he works for the NFL per se, but at Texans games, he's done specifically Texans games since 2002. Now he no longer does that. He no longer does that now. He was let go by the league last March. And he's been a game clock operator for 2 Super Bowls. He has 2 Super Bowl rings. He's done college football. He's done everything. And he's kind of so to speak, pissed off the wrong people. The Good Old Boy Network, as referred to earlier, pissed off the wrong people. And then that's kind of led to him kind of being ousted, out of Tasso and out of the official game. And he's had a long career. He's over 57, and he's been in the game for 1 year. And he's kind of ousted because he's been a whistleblower on guys like Atkinson using racist language and the fraud and the filthiness. So there's a lot of legs to the story. There's a lot going on, and with the lawsuit and the open case, it's going to kind of ensure that, hey, this is something that's going to be an ongoing developing thing, and there might be even more things coming out.
Well, hey man, Adam, we definitely appreciate a good job on this, and you guys covering this because the needle has been moved a little, from a slap on the wrist to 1 year, and now the movement has to continue to prevent him from ever returning to refereeing or officiating high school games, at least, put it like that. And so, but thanks so much, Adam, man. Appreciate you for your time, man, and hanging with us. And we'll keep our eyes on this topic in the days to come.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys having me as always.
All right, man.
Thank you, Adam.
We'll go to a quick break, guys. We come right back. Guess what? One of the ranking referees has heard this conversation and says he wants to call in and share his thoughts. And he's a black man as well. Chop Shop. Be right back.
KHSS is Power 101.5.
Hey, it's Women Rock Wednesday, Jimmy. Let's share a women topic. I just saw a women topic today, and we're talking about all this mess. Let's talk about Rihanna being named the wealthiest female musician. Did you hear about that, Jimmy?
No.
Turn that down. Turn that music down right there. I can hear it. Oh.
Yeah, there we go.
Unbelievable. Hey.
I'm reading some of these comments. What you got out there, guys?
Kay said the suspension is just to pacify folks, like Starbucks for closing down one day to train employees. It was discovered that they all were racist. We have a president breaking laws, so regular white people such as the refs, surely they don't care either. So you're right. You're right. That's what I'm saying. I mean, so forget what can we do?
That's what the conversation.
What can we do?
That's where the conversation moves now, because now we have joining us a next segment a referee who's in the administration, and he referees football. And now I've been waiting on a ref to call him.
Is he in a position of power?
Well, he's in a position of right now, what the power, and obviously the board of the TASO is predominantly in all white, and they just elected another white guy. So there's nobody in position of power in TASO and blacks. But however, I do know that not in the foot of the whole organization. Now they do have a Houston chapter, and this is the thing. This guy that's speaking. He's very involved with the local chapter. Remember, that's the Texas Association of Sports Officials. Now, that's the organization. That's not the Houston Association of Sports Officials. But this guy happens to live in Houston, the Mike Atkinson, if I'm not mistaken. So
Jimmy, we got a lot of Mike Atkinsons in Houston.
Well, but they all don't have the pedigree this dude did. Like, we got some black referees that has more clout than other ones. He's the most decorated, put it like that.
Well, I say it's a lot of Mike Atkinsons in Houston, Texas.
27.
Mike Atkinson, the guy who we talking about, Jimmy. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We get ready to come back.
HSX 101.5. That's a street activist perspective, hosted by yours truly.
3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Chop Shop. Yours truly, Jim Hicks. Robert Hatter is on location in Memphis, Tennessee on this rather wet Women Rock Wednesday. Shout out to all the females out there at work who braved the weather to get out there and make that money today. Make sure you be careful going home. It is nasty out there, and just pay attention to your weather reports, because flooding is reported in various parts of Houston right now. There are some, so I mean, you might be able to get on the freeway, but getting off where you desire to get home to your loved ones may be impaired or hindered. So make sure you take note of that. We have on the phone with us, that's joining us right now, is Frank Young. And Frank Young is an official, a referee, based in Greater Houston. Frank, and you want to continue this conversation and add your perspective on the ordeals and the surrounding, the whole thing surrounding this Mike Atkinson stuff, right?
Yes, sir. What Hicks encountered, it's simply, after you heard the tape, of course everybody gets upset and applaud about what they just heard. But you have to really understand Tasso and understand the verdict, and also understand he was set up. But guess what? If he know he was set up, it wouldn't be so easy to say the words how he was saying it, right? So he was used to talking like that around the people who were used to listening like that. He just had another guy that was taping that probably had something else besides being the right thing for us with the tape. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So now let's go with Tasso. Let's see how the verdict happens. Well, the first thing we have to look at Tasso is it's not too many of us, it's not any of us on that board to get a 2-game first at the beginning of the season or a 3-game in a playoff season. Now, what that would have done to Mike Atkinson under last year's regime, every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, he had a game. So he averaged 33 high school games a year. So if under this year's regime, he would have missed Thursday and Friday, he would have picked up Thursday and Friday all the way to the end of the season. Then his playoffs, he would have missed the first 3. Then he would have picked up the second round all the way until they say you can't go to state or something like that because of controversy. Now, once again, the Tasso board, which is not made of any diversity at all, is all the same people his age. And I want to say once upon a time, they probably thought like him, or they probably still do think like him. That's the part that's missing out of all of this.
So now what happens now? Okay, the suspension now has been modified to 1 year. And when he
That's called
said
damage control.
oh, okay, here's the deal. As referees, he said the South side, what is the South, the referee, the blacks, the N words, those South side N words. Did he mean the South side of Houston or the South side of Texas?
He probably did. I think he just really grouped all of us together. Because if you read the one of his punch quotes that he said, he just wanted to be the head N-word in charge, correct?
Yes.
That guy don't live on the South Side. That black white hat, I'm calling him a black white hat because the head officials on the crew wears the white hat in football. That particular guy doesn't live on the South Side. But that particular guy has been alleged, quote unquote, alleged that he wrote a letter for him, not knowing that he made that statement about him.
So Frank, what happens now? So there's no pushback from the black. What are the black referees going to do about this?
The common black referees like myself, and that don't have too much communication with the coaches going. We're trying to get everything hyping. If you look at Joe McCall's verdict on something that's not, if you look at his verdict, he should have got the same thing Joe McCall got, or he should have got a harsher punishment as the guy that had a DWI or the referee that had misappropriated some funds received. So we're looking at Tasso. Some black referees, including myself, are trying to wait and see what the chapter is going to do so we can at least say, hey, Tasso, give us our money back until some major drastic changes be made.
Okay. No, go on.
Another big issue that we have is his umpire is the incumbent president.
So what relation? The umpire,
yeah.
Say his umpire. You said his? What do you mean by his umpire?
Mike Atkinson. Mr. Atkinson's umpire.
So explain that into terms so people don't understand the chain of referees and the position of an umpire. What does it mean?
In football, you have the white hat, and if you look at college football, that's the guy that's always talking.
Okay, explain. Okay.
Explain the calls. That's Mr. Atkinson's position. Then you have the umpire, the guy that's right behind the defensive lineman, or in the NFL, he's back there with the white hat as well, looking at the offensive defensive line.
Okay.
All right. So what I mean by his umpire, you can't say you're not with this man or condone this type of communication, and you've been with the guy over 10 years. as an umpire.
So now, is there a local Houston chapter? You're based in Houston, right?
Yes. Well, the Houston chapter goes. See, this is the thing. The Houston chapter is not like It's not like basketball. See, the Houston chapter in football goes from Beaumont, Texas, up past Conroe, almost in Huntsville, all the way like Highway 12, right there off of Butcher Road, all those little schools back in there, all the way down as far as Goliad, Texas. Pretty much Corpus Christi.
So that's a lot of good old boys down in those woods. That what you're saying?
There's a lot of good old boys right here in Houston. We don't have to go that far for that.
So,
Mike Atkinson ain't in those. He wasn't in those woods.
So what is the contract, the term of the contract that Tasso has with a lot of the school districts around? Let's say HISD, that's the largest one in the area.
Jim, I don't mean to interrupt. Jimmy, hold on one second. And I hope he hear me. We can sit and talk about that, right? And we all know it's a white supremacist. I'm getting this from Anthony Weston. It still exists. So let's now discuss, because we done spent 2 segments on this, how to deal with it. We know it's some racist guys out there. Mr. Frank, how are we going to deal with this?
Well, the most foremost part is we have to recognize that it's racist people.
We've already recognized that.
And everything is changing. Last year we just spent a lot of time just listening to the women on the Me Too movement. We have women officials. Guess what? We even have gay men officials. Our organization has to do a better job in identifying or teaching or giving them information on all these people, diversities and creeds, or genders, whatever they want to call themselves, right? Tasso hasn't did any of those things in years. So once we identify those things and have a course or something like that, now Tasso can be more lenient, but the first thing Tasso has to do is diversify his board. If you don't diversify his board, if we all black, it would still be the same if someone else was coming in and trying to get a verdict or point across. But their situation with Tasso is why it's called the good old boy clique, because it's always not about race with them. You see how they punish Joe McCall, Gillison, and those other people other folks that mentioned. They're just not in the good old boy clique. And that's where that problem stimulates from. Now, how are we going to do better with it? Race is hard. It's hard. Even for a 500 company, it's one of the documentations that you get when you start working there. When you go into what's called open house or wherever it's called when you go to work and you start working at a company, that's the hardest part, to change a person's mindset. And he's a farmer. So his mindset is what his mindset is, because he only listens to himself. He don't have to work with other people. He's small enough for the school district's space, but his real mentality is set. He's 60 plus. It's set.
Frank, man.
But I know it's short, Jimmy. But
yeah.
A lot of people are talking about we need to hurt them in the pocket.
That's exactly what I'm thinking, and why I asked how long is the contract for Tasso, because if the contract is nearing its end, then there's at least 3 minority athletic directors in the greater Houston area alone. HISD is predominantly a minority school district. This man just made a derogatory comment, a racist comment. If the athletic directors can't stand in front and say, well, you know what, or in the contract, that it doesn't have any verbiage that could violate and give grounds of termination, that could be the push. Then you can start up your own. But we up against the break though, Frank. We definitely appreciate it, man. Your comments. We welcome any other official out there. 346-330-9473, 346-330-9473. Or if you're one of the viewers and you're listening, and you just have a take on it, call in, share your thoughts. But we got to go to a quick break right now. Chop Shop, be right back. Thank you. And that's what I'm saying to you guys. If the contract, see, that's the thing. I look at the economics is the key. First of all, there's a good point. Good point, Brandon. Diversity on the board is important. So first, you got to find a way to implement more minorities into the voting, into power. That's like anything. That's like in the government. You got to find a way to infiltrate. Purposely infiltrate. How do you do that? You got to put somebody in vote that collectively you anoint somebody that's crispy clean, that they can't deny, and get that guy and push him through. Let him know, hey, Barack Obama his butt. They don't see it coming. That's how you do it. That's one way. It's many ways to skin this cat. We deal with racist people all the time. But now, what are you going to do about it? You got to have a play. Let me tell you something. If this referee in football games, this is a great part of his income. So he's 60-something years old. That means he's into retire. He's into that age where he's nearing or already in ARP territory. So man, I'm telling you, now once they get in the office, then you collectively go and you find a way to create you another movement. If you can't push the needle, you don't have to take it. If you're going to bend over like that, and that's the thing that gets funny as hell. It just goes to show. Remember, how can your kids, we teach these young people about taking a stand sometimes, but if they have a plan, I think a lot of the referees, some people feel like they can't see it, man, they ain't gonna do no good. Yeah, it will. It will. Think about it like this. He had a 2-game suspension, then a 3-game suspension. Some people said it right then. Oh man, that's cold. Man, that's fighting. Oh, they ain't gonna do no good. Well, somebody fought with an email. We read it on the show last week. It went from the 5 games to the whole season. That's to kind of hush people up. But that's only if you want to be hushed up. Don't let money mute you like that. But at the same time, who am I to tell? That's that guy who the ringers do pink slip in the mail. It's the first of the month right now, and they're relying on that check. They think that if they're gonna stand up, then they're not gonna get scheduled for certain games.
They have a USA team announcement. Jimmy, you saw that?
No. Where's that? You can tell us about it then. Hold on. Okay. We're gonna come back in about 10 seconds. I was reading a lot of you guys' comments. That's why I was quiet. I was reading a lot of your stuff. Welcome back to the Chop Shop. Jim Hicks. We got Robert Haller in Memphis, Tennessee. And of course, don't forget, guys, Game 3 tonight. Toronto at Golden State. And we're definitely going to talk about that. And yet we gave a lot of things that we on the Chop Shop is a lot of like current issues in our community, especially when it pertains to race relations in sports. We try to make a conscious effort to give a platform and amplify the voices of many of the voices. And that's one of the avenues of black media. And if we can't amplify their voices or the voice of the voiceless, then who are we? What purpose are we serving? So that was the thing that, because to many people it means a lot. But at the same time, it comes down to what are you going to do about it? And so that was the thing about that conversation. Now, don't forget, also shifting the gears, you just mentioned that USA Basketball has announced there's an announcement they just released, right?
Yes.
And what is it?
I'm just reading some of Wojo's tweets.
Okay, we'll go on. Meanwhile, don't forget, guys, also
I'm telling you now, they talking about PJ Tucker will participate in the training camp. PJ Tucker, and Paul Millsap. Then they talk about Bradley Beal, Eric Gordon, Kyle Kuzma, Damian Lillard, Brook Lopez, Kevin Love, C.J. McCallum, and Jason Tatum. Also, Anthony Davis, Kemba Walker, Donovan Mitchell, and James Harden are also planning to play for Team USA. I just thought I'd throw that in.
And where was this team? They're going to play where, in the FIBA games?
China. It's going to be the FIBA. You know, this is the same team they was talking about getting Zion Williamson to play on too.
So this is a team to qualify. This is a qualifier for the Olympics, basically, one of the opportunities to qualify. And when will they play?
I don't have all that information.
Okay.
I was just, he was just tweeting and talking about it, so I just thought I'd tweet that out. ESPN got an article about it. It's in China. When let's see, 12 May. Oh, Greg Popovich is going. The September tournament in China, so I guess it's in September. The August minicamp, and the tournament started in September, and it would be 18-man camp roster, and Greg Popovich will eventually trim it down to 12 men, and they're going to take it to China and see what they can do. They're going to have an exhibition, by the way, Jimmy. They're going to have an exhibition as usual in Vegas in August from 5th to 8th. And then they're going to get out of there and go to China. That's all.
Wow, and of course, speaking of the Rockets, there was one of the rumors that they've identified 3 players who are the most likely to be traded, and I think Clint Capella and PJ Tucker were 2 of those 3 for the Houston Rockets, and of course, and you know, guys understand this is, you can see it coming a mile away. You know what's happening with the Rockets. They've got rid of 3 coaches / 3 members of under the coaching umbrella within the past 2 to 3 weeks. Also, that means following that up with the owner Tillman Fertitta and the head coach Mike D'Antoni breaking down just closing talks on the extension. So he's a lame duck coach.
Jim Manuel.
This year. They're not going to extend him. Right? And he knows it. And, you know, it was funny, I learned, you know, terms, you know, it's funny because the beef, whenever people have beef and it leaks up, spills over into the media, what tends to happen is one side would leak out conditions of that conversation of the meeting, and what was recently leaked out was some of the terms of the contract, that the structure of the contract might be intoned. It was incentive. It was basically a lot of incentives in there, meaning that it was I'm estimating approximately about a $4 million base and every round after the first round, you would get an extra $1 million. And so, when we got something new, what we got right now, have the whole type, we have a station identification real quick. 2 seconds.
You're listening to KHSX Power 101.5.
And welcome back to the Chop Shop. Yours truly, Jim Mixalong, and with Robert Hatter. He's in Memphis. And also tonight, the Houston Astros will resume their road trip in Seattle. Late game. Hatter had me in the bed at 11:45 last night, watching the Astros beat the snot out of Seattle.
Pretty good. I watched a piece of it last night, just a piece.
Hey, man.
But,
Hey.
I want to get back. Speaking of baseball, them little girls you was bragging about, they got their head tore off.
Oklahoma, I watched it. Did you watch it?
Yeah, got
Dude,
their head
dude,
tore clean off.
Dude, them girls from UCLA, no joke. No
UCLA
joke.
must have heard you running your mouth about Oklahoma.
I was rooting for the Nike team. That's all I have. You know, it was Women Rock Wins. That's how we doing win. But you know what? Oklahoma UCLA was a much better team. They won with a walk-off in the bottom of the 7th inning last night, 6-5 to win the World Series. UCLA, I think, is their 12th title. That team is well balanced, well coached. I mean, you see some of the things that coach did down the stretch, like putting in a pinch hitter, putting in the pinch runner. You know, I mean, it was everything that Oklahoma did. Every time they tied the game up, 3 different times.
Hey man,
UCLA, go back.
You know what's so unique? I'm glad we're on baseball. Guess what happened yesterday in Memphis, baseball-wise?
What happened?
You know they had the MLB draft?
Yeah, it was 2 days ago. Yeah, round 2 was yesterday.
Okay, guess what? This young kid from Memphis, named Maurice Hampton, turned down the signing bonus of $1.8 million to play for LSU. He chose to go to college, go play football and basketball. And the mom and daddy, Jimmy, in the article said they had a number. I mean, it was unique. They had a number. He said my bottom line number was around 2.7 million. You know, they didn't give him what they offered him 1.8. And he said my thing was if they could bring that number to at least that, I would have $1.7 million net income. And he said that could secure me for 15 years. His daddy said, his son. He said we had a plan for him, and they didn't meet that plan, and we wasn't gonna budge. We'll go to college. Have you heard of that one before, Jimmy?
They said they ain't gonna budge, huh?
They said they ain't budging. They said they looked it up, Jimmy. They got a detailed article in it. I guess I'm gonna post it. I mean, the daddy, this mama here and this daddy, they very detailed. And you know what? And their last name Hampton. These Hamptons know what they're doing. These Hamptons, I put it like this, have their own way of doing their things, and I'm proud of both families. I mean, hey, I'm proud of both families.
Well, and speaking of that, I know the 2 young men from one high school in Greater Houston was drafted by Major League Baseball teams in the past couple of days. And those 2 young men are from Cypress Ranch High School, and both are pitchers. I think one was taken, with the 36th pick, and the other one was in the 40s, about 10 picks later. And that one would be in the young man Matthew, who we talked about a couple of weeks ago. But so that's awesome. Think about it. The team that they did make it.
Or be like you, what I could be.
To the regional finals. And was ousted, this Cy Ranch team. 2 pitchers going pro from the same high school. And they have the option to. They have the Major League Baseball team that drafted you own your rights. And you can feel free to go. They can go to college. I think one is signed with Texas A&M. I'm not sure where the other young man is signed at. But anyway, we got some other news. We're going to go to a lot of Women Rock Wednesday.
Can I give you one quick story, Jim? Something just happened. Did you see? I got interrupted by Memphis new strength coach. They just hired
Strength coach.
But it got Memphis. I mean, it's got Houston ties to it. Oh well. I guess it's got Houston ties. Kelvin Sampson. He used to work with Kevin Sampson and Texas A&M. His name Darby Rich. I don't know if you're familiar with him. Memphis just hired him a few days ago, and he came in to shake my hand and stuff. Matter of fact, he's a great friend of Bilal Badley on U of H staff. They were at Oklahoma together. Kevin Sampson gave his blessings. Hey man, go down there and you can help Memphis program. So I thought that was a great gesture by the head coach of the Houston Cougars, Kelvin Sampson. Shout out to Kevin Sampson today, Jimmy. Just wanted to let you know that.
Yeah, the defending AAC champions. Shout out to you, right? And so now, in boxing news, how about our little Jarnell Charlo? Remember
That's your boy.
We had him on the Chop Shop about a year or so ago.
Right.
And he had a huge championship fight against the world middleweight titles. It was going to take place on June the 23rd.
In Houston?
No, it was going to be at the Mandalay Bay.
Oh, they were supposed to have one in Houston too, Jimmy.
No, that must have been his brother. Not
okay,
him.
brother.
Yeah,
Okay.
This is a title fight right here. And when Charlo lost in his last fight, I think, or last year, and now he has a chance to obtain the middleweight championship. Well, Tony Harrison sprung his ankle and had to withdraw from the card. So now they have a replacement fighter that's going to face Charlo, and his name is Jorge Cota. It's a 12-round fight. It's going to be on the Fox network, and I guess maybe the winner. They still plan to put together this championship fight if it goes down. But I just wanted to make news of that for those that are in the boxing fans. And also, Adam, what do you think about old Butterbean Jr. winning that title?
I like old Butterbean, Ruiz.
You like
I like him.
And Ruiz is picking up a lot of support around the world. A lot of support. And it's a great thing. It might have been great for boxing. But anyway, guys, we're up against the break. We're come take a quick break. Come back, and we have some more. We'll talk about Kawhi Leonard. We're gonna talk some amateur sports as well. Got that for you. And guess
Let's
what?
talk about Rihanna too.
Man, Rihanna ain't studying about you.
Rihanna, these women rock Wednesday, Jimmy.
And also John Calipari and a lot of the news. When we come right back on
It's a
Chop
woman
Shop.
yet.
KHSS is Power 101.5.
You don't usually get a stop to from the 16th.
Jimmy, Anthony Weston said he just didn't want to see you. He said you on YouTube by yourself. He just don't want to see you. He want to see me too.
That's a good thing.
Weston, you know what? I'm gonna hurry up and get back. If this rain, hey, is it raining that bad? Do you think I can get a flight in tonight?
Man, I don't know. It's raining worse than it was when we started.
Huh? Yeah, Herb, I want to talk about Rihanna, man. I'm proud of that young girl. The girl that got up into the 600 million rank. She $200 million past Beyonce, Jim.
Didn't that boy just quit Rihanna? That boy,
He crazy. What boy? What boy?
that's the one she was with.
Who she was with?
One of them guys. One of them guys from across the board. Look it up.
Yeah. They ain't talking about him today. They talking about her being the richest female musician in the world with a fortune. I mean, she done topped Celine Dion and Madonna and Beyonce. You feel me? So yes, I want to talk about her. Yes, I really do. But Jimmy, she unbelievable, man. This little girl has been getting it. Jimmy, you remember she ain't came out with a hit? I ain't heard no music, but for that cosmetics, women, I just want to know to the women out there, do y'all buy that much makeup? Jimmy.
Hell yeah, they do.
Unbelievable. The makeup industry is unbelievable.
Start by taking a simple 1-minute risk test. Hey, do I have prediabetes?
We buying that much makeup. I mean, y'all buying that much makeup.
You can't say that in the first.
Thank you, Dodo.
Also known as
Jim,
Yo.
quick question. Do Beyonce like that? Herb just made a good one. Do you think Beyonce like that?
Like what?
Rihanna, topping her in the money chart.
I mean, probably if she
Rumors, Beyonce was topping a man too now.
probably look, pay attention to it. It's gonna give motivation. But in the end game, the odds are in Beyonce's favor. Beyonce, you know, in the end game, she got so much going on off the cup, and then realize another part of Beyonce that's not factored in. If her and Jay-Z was to divorce tomorrow,
We ain't talking about no
she'd be
Jay-Z,
$500
man.
million richer.
We
So
ain't talking about no Jay-Z.
I'm just saying, well, she gonna get half.
Jay-Z got a prenup.
No, he don't either.
Yeah, they do.
It don't matter if he did. He just got it for the ink.
10 seconds.
Who was that? Thank you, Terry. Terry, you got loud over there.
Appreciate it. Go.
Welcome back to the Chop Shop. We officially on the back nine, 11 minutes past the hour. Man, what a day, what a day. Women Rock Wednesday. Shout out to all the females out there. And speaking of female news, up in Fort Worth, Texas, there was a teacher, Georgia Clark, right? She went on social media and thought she had slipped into the DM of the president, number 45.
What?
And was pleading with the president to come and round up all of the illegal immigrants, which are students at her school in the Fort Worth ISD. Georgia Clark is her name. I can't make this up. So she wasn't in his DMs. She was actually on the front end of Twitter. I kind of laughed myself. This happened. If I say it again, you know, she thought she had slipped into the DMs. So she's tweeting the president a string of tweets. Let him know you got to come get all these. It's sad what they're doing in our country. All these, come round them up. They're right here. Now, these are her students, some of these kids. The parents entrust their kids into the hands of the teacher. Well, guess
Jimmy,
what?
you got some sad stories today, man.
Dude,
Jim,
I can't make this up. So guess what happened yesterday?
Sad. I'm trying to perk this thing. You guys, ooh, my goodness.
Well, guess what? No, it's not all sad. Because on yesterday, the school board had a special hearing and voted 8-0 to terminate her contract. So she's, in other words, that's technical terms of you're fired.
Jim,
She's fired.
Jim, you done got the referee fired. You done got this woman fired. We got any more? Who else you gonna get fired today? Y'all better watch it around there in the studio. Jimmy gonna get one of y'all fired.
and so that was, I mean, you know, and also I guess a feel good story is how about the young man Damon Sheehy Guisan, right? This young man went to the training camp of the Cleveland Browns, and understand something. He walked to the gate. They asked him something. He said, "Man, I know, he picked one of the names of somebody he knew. Said that's my, and he talked his way into the camp past the security. Went and tried out, and has a chance now to fight for a spot. He's a return man. And what happened was the guy he ran like a 4.3.
Oh, that'll get you in.
You see, I'm talking about why he was in there.
I'm talking about to get you on the team. 4.3.
And so that's what happened.
Don't too many human beings run 4.3.
I mean, this guy played for Phoenix College. For Phoenix College, he was a return man, and now has a chance based upon, guess what? I guess sometimes it's good to
Being persistent.
lie on yourself. I guess that's just like falsifying your resume. He walked to the gate and said, you know, because he was not invited. So
You can do that, Jimmy. You can do that. You can. That's kind of possible. But don't try that with the Rockets. You're not gonna get in that building. Football is a little bit different than basketball.
Yeah.
And speaking of basketball, Jimmy, did you see what them people at USC said about Tony Blaney?
I know what the administrator said about Tony Blaine, and the administrator sent a letter. You know, when people get ready to get sentenced, you have some people going to send letters or come give testimony to in defense of the defendant, and others will come and give testimony to help the prosecution because you want a longer sentence. Well, the USC administrator had totally, you know, just try to throw Tony Bland under the wagon, saying that basically he was, you know, it was not good, he was detrimental to the program.
They said significantly damaging the reputation of the school and the college basketball scandal. Let me show you something, Jimmy. This is the same school that literally had a medical school dean smoking meth and doing prostitutes at the med school's office on the campus. And a doctor accused the same school, USC, a doctor accused of molesting hundreds of patients, but yeah, Tony is significantly damaging the reputation. Oh, man, get out of here.
I mean, I'm speechless, and luckily this morning, Tony Bland received a sentence which enables him to avoid jail time. He got 100 hours community service and probation. So he was sentenced this morning, and so I guess good news for Tony Bland, because that letter didn't have ill effect. But the prosecution was recommending 1 year of jail time. He got 100 hours of community service, and which he can come over here to Chop Shop and sit with us and do the community service, do some of those
Jimmy,
hours.
do me a quick favor and put the name of the guy who ran the 4-3, who snuck in the facilities at the Cleveland Browns.
The guy who snuck up in there, he did that too.
He didn't sneak, he snuck.
And during the break, I'll send that to you during the break.
No,
and
somebody on the Facebook feed want to hear.
I'm saying I have to go and dig it and put it on my phone.
Okay.
So, just hold tight. I see Todd Holmes. I'll give you the name during the break. Now, also, in other news, man, sad, so much kind of sad than speaking of the courts.
Oh, I don't want Jimmy no more sad news.
Yeah, man, it got to. It's news. Yeah, but the U.S. Appeals Court, the 3 Oregon players, including our guy, our great friend, and Damon Dotson, they lost their appeal. And they were trying to appeal because, remember, they got kicked out of Oregon when they were students without being charged. So without, prematurely. And if you're gonna, they didn't get, and so they were seeking to sue the university for that, for that role in their decision in doing so. So now they've lost their appeal. So I think, but at the same time, of those 3 men, Dominique Artis and Brandon Austin, Damon Dotson is really sweet. I think I trade you being in the NBA for 3 years, coming up on 3 years now, for the exchange for that case any day of the week. So, our blessings is to the Dotson family today. So like I'm in church or something, I'm giving announcements now. But anyway, Kawhi Leonard, Adam, what are your thoughts on Kawhi Leonard and his decision to sue Nike over the claw logo?
I mean, he said first of all, I love Nike and I like that brand. And he said he actually drew the logo. And but Nike owns the right to it. And guess what? They got a right to fight for their right. They don't want to see New Balance on their things. But Jimmy, did you remember? I remember a few weeks ago, I was talking about the Clippers tried to intervene with Nike and tried to buy the logo back. Did you remember that?
Yeah.
A week ago. So they can have bargaining power when they're trying to get Kawhi. But I mean, of course, that's business, Jimmy. Jimmy, that 1 cent logo that Penny has on his shoe, that's valuable to an athlete. You know, so of course he should fight for it, and of course, if I was Nike, I would fight for it also.
So well, why don't Nike just go and give the man his logo? If that's the case, why? I mean, now
Why what?
Why would Nike just go at home and give him the logo?
Because it's business. It ain't. Business just don't work like that. You're not going to automatically just give somebody a part of your business. You're not going to do that.
I mean, even knowing if it's true that he helped create the logo, is the cloth. We're talking about Kawhi Leonard. Okay.
But guess what? What I would say, we got this. I haven't seen the contract, right? So the contract is going just plainly state who owns that logo. He might have drew his hand like that, but Nike's people might have sliced and diced it and what you call it, edited and made it the way that Nike wanted to present it. We don't know. See, I don't have all that information with me because it ain't my business, so I really didn't take a look into it. But I'm on both sides. I don't blame Nike for wanting to protect their intellectual property, and I don't blame him for protecting what he thinks is his intellectual property. Evidently, the intellectual property belongs to Nike because he got to sue Nike to use it. Always remember that, Jimmy. He's trying to sue Nike because he can't use it without getting sued. So they just got to figure that thing out. That's all.
Well, absolutely. I mean, indeed, I hope the plane lands in a good, in a good way for Kawhi in this situation tonight. He was part of the Jordan brand before now going with New Balance. And how about this? In this year's finals, I think this is the first time since 2005 that none of the Nike signature athletes is playing in the championship game.
Interesting.
Since 2005.
That's interesting.
That's almost 15 years. Think about it. When I say a signature player, meaning a player who has his own.
Well, Kevin Durant technically is.
Well, I'm not understanding playing. He's not. Kevin Durant hasn't played yet.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So that's the thing. I mean, we'll talk about that through the break and come right back on the Chop Shop. And of course, we're going to dive into amateur basketball, the NBPA Top 100 camp. The names of the participants have been released on yesterday. Talk about that, selection process, and a lot more on the Chop Shop. Hang right there.
You're listening to KHSX Power 101.5.
Jimmy, I saw interest. Turn it down, please, Terry. Jimmy, I saw something interesting.
What we got?
Today in the team camp. Jimmy, I wrote this young man's name. He is the coach, high school coach for Booker T. Washington High School here in Memphis, Tennessee. That's a significant high school in my family. My mom, I think, went to that high school, and my older brothers and sisters. It was, Booker T. Washington, right? So guess what, Jimmy? This young man, Antonio Harris, happened to be the coach of the team. Pretty good team. Jimmy, he walked in the gym, and the reason I'm talking about him today, I don't know why he just reminded me of Coach Stephen Woods. Jimmy had his Nike polo shirt on, he had his slacks on, and he had his shirt tucked in with a belt. I mean, let me tell you something. In summer basketball, I found that I haven't seen it. I think on the EYBL, I think they got some of the guys do it, but I was really impressed by Antonio Harris. He played it. I think he played at the University of Tennessee, and he played under Kevin O'Neal, whenever Kevin O'Neal regime was. But I just want to have a shout out to that young man. He was dressed the part. He was he dressed so nice in a summer basketball setting that I had to call his name out. Shout out to him, Antonio Harris. I just had to.
He must be watching the show up there.
Huh?
He must be watching the show right now.
I don't know if you're watching the show or not. Because I didn't even, matter of fact, I didn't tell, I just sat on a radio show and I might mention it. I didn't even give him the specs. I mean, I just saw him. It was amazing because guess what? Everybody else coming here looking sloppy. So guess what? He stood out. So when people stand out, that's why I tell people, I told my son a long time, dress the part where you want to be, not who you are. Dress where you want to be. And sometimes we just, come in looking a little sloppy. And like, most of the coaches out there. So that's all.
I think Anthony Weston has a question for you on the Twitter feed.
I don't understand the question, Jimmy. Read it. I don't understand it.
Well, I mean, you
I don't understand the question.
But that's when it says me reading it, you don't understand it.
Yeah. Said how many athletes who have contract with Nike are requesting at least a part of the compensation at Nike? Oh, he meant stop. He put Stoke. He misspelled the word. Stop. Guess what? They give you enough money, you can buy your stock. I know we got to wrap it up. I know Dodo just sent me a message said wrap it up. Andy Weston, they send you enough, give you enough money, you buy your own stock. But guess what? Charles Barkley, he never received his money from Nike. He kept rolling it over in Nike stock. He's a very rich man now. Go look that one up.
Welcome back to the Chop Shop. 27 minutes past the hour. You guys know what time it is. It's time for that starting 5. These are the first 5 viewers who logged on to our Facebook feed at the top of the show. And what we do, we take out the time to acknowledge those 5 people, wherever they may be, at work, at home, in the vehicles right now. Listen to the Power 101.5 in the Houston area. Make sure you drive safe out there. And meanwhile, without further ado, the starting 5 for today.
Oh, you want me to go first?
Yeah.
I got shot. I don't hear the music. Oh, that's my name.
I'm listening.
I got Shantae Wilson. I'm sorry, Shantae. I got Sonia Howard. I saw her name on there. I got, who else? Come on, Jimmy. You got to help me. That's it. Lori Dotson. She's watching on YouTube. I got, who else is all women? I had a couple of more women. Latrice Hughes. I'm sorry, Latrice. And Rihanna. That's my last one. That's all I saw in there today.
And
what you got, Jim?
Of course, my starting 5 is Shantae Wilson, Sonia Howard, Latrice Hughes, Madonna Johnson, and Angie Holcomb. And of course, today's starting 5 is brought to you by the Southwest Exposure Camp. That camp will take place July the 24th, 25th, Session 2, July the 27th and 28th at Jack Yates High School. This camp is basically, this is for approximately 80 of the top players who did not get selected to the NCAA live camps, which will be going on at the University of Houston.
Hold on. Stop, Jimmy. Stop the press. Stop the press. Andy Weston said, Lord have mercy. Now the broadcast has been disrupted on YouTube too. What is going on, man? Jimmy, what is going on?
I mean, you just got to keep pushing. We're not disrupted on Power 101.5 FM.
I know it, baby. Let's keep going. Keep going.
Go hop in your car and keep on rolling. And speaking of amateur basketball members, of course, on yesterday, the NBPA Top 100 list was released, and there were a few kids from the state of Texas, in case people that were wondering, that did get selected to the camp. And I was looking at the international players. I think had a couple of weeks ago, you'd asked me about the international players, and it looks like there's about 10 international players who were selected to the camp. And also from the class of 2022, there's another question that of American players, right? Of American players, there's only about, I think, I'm looking at the list, maybe 2 in the country from the class of 2022 that were select 3. I'm sorry. I see 3. And I could be wrong, I'm counting them, I'm looking through, and that's the list of, but some of the kids from the Greater Houston, of course, congratulations to Tremont Mark out of Dickinson High School, Eddie Lampkin, Martin Ranch High School. LJ Cryer was invited, guys, but he does not expect to be released and healthy enough to participate. This camp takes place next week.
Oh yeah,
in Charlottesville, Virginia. Next week is the NBPA Top 100 camp. That camp, for the first time ever, will be live for Division I coaches to come out and evaluate prospects. Also, the NBA.
Jimmy, did you say possibly?
Possibly, pertaining to what?
The college coaches can come out.
No, they can't come out. They have 24 hours to view the kids next Thursday and Friday. And it's on the campus of University of National Champions, University of Virginia in Charlottesville. The D1 coaches will be able to come out on next Thursday, starting at I think it's 2 o'clock. Yeah, I think it's at 2 p.m. Then they can come out and watch the games on Thursday, and they will resume on Friday morning up until around 2 p.m. So it's a 24-hour window that has been agreed upon by the Players Association and the NCAA to permit the Division I coaches to come out and watch the game. Also, the coaches package for those games. Remember now, the purpose of this, well, not the purpose, but there was a movement in the meetings with the Condoleezza Rice and the commission was to help restore, because the prices was too high. All this money being made off the youngsters, right? So let's get this in the hands, that way people can be convenient. And a college coach sent me a message on yesterday evening. Say the coaches package of $425 a piece per coach. Per coach. $425.
$1,225.
$425 a piece per package.
I thought you said 400. Okay.
Yeah, 400.
I mean, they got it.
Yeah, I mean, the ones that want to be there. Remember now, I talked to head coach Johnny Jones at TSU on yesterday, and asked him was he going. It's like, no, we'll get guys that go to that camp. He said we just sit and put our net up on them in the next year or two when they get ready to transfer.
So Jim, who get this money?
The NBPA.
So they done took it out of the regular guy's hand and put it back.
Well, I mean,
man, come on, man.
Well, I mean, guess what? It just.
Come on, man. I ain't talking about you. You ain't the powers that be.
Yeah, I don't work for the NBPA. I mean, I do, next week at the camp. But
come on, Miss Roberts, Michelle Roberts.
I see Michelle. I'm gonna ask Michelle about that next week. I'm gonna get her on the Chop Shop and ask her about that next week.
So wait a minute. Instead of being Robin Hood, the rich robbing the rich.
Well, I mean,
the other guy, I don't understand that one. I don't understand that. I promise y'all that stuff. They can be there for 24 hours. They still got to pay $400 for a pack.
Yeah.
No.
Per coach.
Per coach, yeah.
And of course, you know, and understand that this camp is just one of the many ways of avenues of exposure, but it's a new territory now. This was, as I mentioned earlier, it's the first time that Division I coaches are able to come out. So if nothing else, the intensity on Thursday and Friday would expect it to be at a premium. Because these young men, they only have many of them, of course, who's in attendance, will probably have already been invited to either USA Basketball in July or one of the 4 regional camps. They will have also get a chance to be evaluated with their summer teams during July the 11th through the 14th. We're talking boys basketball.
What's that gonna be? Jimmy, where is that tournament gonna be? With the high school thing? Have they figured that out?
Which one you saying the high school team?
And the high school you can be evaluated with your high school team. Where they can evaluate for that? Where?
That with your high school team at the last 2 weekends of June.
Yes,
but that's not for the state of.
What will you be able to see these? What will the coach be able to evaluate these kids at?
Well, you can go to the NCAA website. They've approved selected events across the country. Texas is a state that does not. They're basically indirectly boycotting it. So the state of Texas is not going to participate as their schools. However, there's another state, I think Colorado, that has an event that's open to individuals from Texas who want to go and play in that event. And you can send me a message. I can send you the info on that particular camp in Colorado. But that's the end of June. Then also during the July the 11th through the 14th is when they can be evaluated with their summer teams. Then as an individual, you could have the opportunity to get, if you got selected to one of the NCAA camps, that's from July the 22nd through the 28th. 2 different sessions, they run 4 days apiece. 22nd through the 25th and the 25th through the 28th. Meanwhile, in Houston, there will be the Southwest Exposure Camp that will serve as a kickstand for that NCAA camp. It will serve as a net for those who fell through the cracks and didn't get invited. However, there's a few kids that plan to play in both, Alan. We've got the emails. There's a few kids that are participating in the U of H in the live camp, and it's going to also go across the street to Yates and play in the Southwest Exposure Camp. And the thing is, and I mentioned is, a lot of the media will be in town, and you got to understand the play. All I got to do is put together a big spread and let the media guys know at the U of H, let them know what time we're going to have this food ready for them. What do you think they're going to do? If you're a media guy, you done came to Houston, you stand 2 or 3 y'all in the room, you don't have a big budget, and somebody tell you they got a warm, hot meal for you across the street.
I'm gonna give me some room, sir.
No, you ain't. You can walk across the street. You don't have a budget for room service. You stand in Super 8. These guys don't live like that. Believe that. Anyway, come right back in the Chop Shop. I have some news for you guys. I went in, in continuance of the conversation from yesterday about the summer teams and the transfers. I have some huge news for you guys about the summer teams from the greater Houston area and their transfer statistics, not just from last year. How about the past 5 years? Wait till I share it with you. We'll come right back on the Chop Shop.
I'm gonna take a break.
101.5 KHSX LPFM, Houston, Texas.
They better learn how to make that egg sample. Turn that down, please, sir. Thank you.
Herb, where that cigarette light at? Hey
What?
man, you hear about Kay Felder?
Kid Felder.
Kay Felder. You hear about Kay Felder?
Hey, Felder, what he done now?
Man, wait till I tell you what Kay Felder done. Poe Kay Felder.
What he done? You take it so long, I can look it up by the time you tell.
Kay Felder got kicked out of the D League.
Who league?
The G League.
The league ain't even started. The league ain't. Wait a minute, man.
And he was grooving now. He was averaging 18 points, 6.5 assists, 4 rebounds.
Jimmy, how you get kicked out in this off season?
Because domestic violence. He done put his hands on one of the little girls.
You know that was a while ago. That was a while ago. I guess the case. I know the case was pending.
Yeah. Poe Kay Felder.
So I took the home. I'm gonna give this to you one time. Whenever we put somebody else's music that we don't own on this Facebook, they'll kick the show off. That's why the music shouldn't be loud in the background.
Unless you own the rights to the music. Right.
That's like, yeah.
That's
like
why
the
the
Chop
Chop-
Shop song we
Yeah.
played out. Okay? Yeah, I want to hear the music too, but they for some reason they don't want. You know, and it interested Jerry. They let some people do it.
Well, you have to put on there. I understand. If I know something about putting on there. I don't own the rights to this music.
On the rights to the music, that works.
I don't know.
Then we couldn't talk through the plate over the music either. Oh man, I'm ready to come home, man.
Five, 4, 3, 2. Welcome back to the Chop Shop. 43 minutes past the hour. Yours truly, Jim Hicks. We got Robert Hatter in Memphis. What's the weather like in Memphis right now, Hatter?
It's beautiful outside. I think I'll go either if I can't get on the plane. Let me say this. If it's raining, Jimmy, tell me right now. Look out the window. How is the weather? Right now.
It's raining dogs and cats.
Okay.
Lizards and rats.
I'll
In
come
each time
home
right
tomorrow.
now.
When is the weather gonna clear up?
I mean, I don't know. You got to go check the Doppler for that. I ain't the Doppler.
Don't know when the weather gonna clear
So
up.
now, how about tonight? Let's get right into this game, Hatter. For now, I'm gonna tell you guys. I want to share with you also these stats I got on the transfer. Matter of fact, shout out to Chris Walker. Chris Walker is tuning in on the Chop Shop on the West City C Walk in. Haven't heard of
What's
C
up,
Walk
Paul?
this week. But matter of fact, let's go right to these transfers first. The other day, I mentioned to you guys about summer basketball, and was talking about transfers from the class of 2018, for which there was a total of 13 players who were freshmen in Division I out of the 34. We had 34 total. 13 of them had put themselves in the transfer portal, right? And in doing so, out of curiosity, normally I think I mentioned the team that had the most. Okay, so now we fast forward, and I went overnight, and I went and dug up the statistics of all of the summer teams that Division I players from the greater Houston area suited up for in the past 5 years. Mm-hmm. And of those, I only identified the transfers from when they went to Division I schools. These are only the Division I transfers. Follow me. Right? So it doesn't, I'm not, if a kid committed to the Division I, ended up going to a JUCO, I'm talking about before even touching the Division I campus, I did not count that. I'm talking about a guy that went to a Division I school out of high school and transferred during his course of time there. So I went all the way back to 2014. In 2014, there were approximately 25 Division I signees out of Greater Houston.
How many?
25.
Okay.
Now, a couple of more committed, but didn't sign. You follow me? And a couple of more signed, but didn't qualify. So I didn't count them. I'm talking about the guys, that was 25 that touched Division I campuses that fall. Out of the 25,
what year was this again?
2014.
Okay.
Class of 2014 featured guys such as they were headlined by Justin Jackson,
Okay. Okay.
Justice Winslow. You know, that those guys headlined the class of 2014.
Okay.
Well, there were 11 players from 2014 who ended up transferring. 11 out of the 25. The Houston Defenders had the most with 4. 4 players, they led the way. So in 2015, 27 area players who signed, of those who signed Division I, 27 actually touched the Division I campus, right? Before going to any other school, by way straight from high school to JUCO. High school to D1. Of that 27, this is the most alarming year. 19 of the 27 transferred. Who had the most? The Houston Hoops. 2016, there were 22 players who had signed Division I letters of intent that actually ended up on campus. Of the 22, 50%, half of those transferred. Who had the most? Basketball University had 3. In 2017, there were 29 young men from the area who landed on Division I campuses in basketball. Out of those 29, 12 of those transferred. For one reason or another. Included in that 12, well, give you the team that had the most, as I did the other ones. The Texas Boys Athletic Club.
That's Chris Walker team.
That's Chris Walker led that class of 2017 had the most transfers. But remember, mind you, that includes Darius McNeil.
Okay.
He transferred from Cal. He's going to SMU. But that's what I say. For whatever reason or another, we're not finding a reason saying that you transferred because you wasn't playing. Transferring means you felt that, you know what, you don't want to go here anymore. Right? And of course in 2018, 34 players were freshmen at Division I schools from out of Greater Houston this past season. 34. And 13 of those transferred after their freshman year. So that means the class of 2018, there's still room for some other players to transfer maybe next year, after this season. You follow me? This is not a list of who's transferring after their freshman year.
This is still a fluid list right here you're talking about.
Well, at least from the class of 2016 moving forward.
I got a question for you, Jim.
Uh-huh.
What's the significance of it?
Well, the significance of this, basically to see if any correlation of the amount of people that's transferring, because the conversation about transfers comes up every year. It means that we're at an all-time high. So basically, if you want to know how many people transferring around the country, the number's around 800. And we want to see, based on the number of correlation of kids from out of Greater Houston, is there what's the range? That's what I did it for.
But you remember the summer, but you announced the summer teams.
Yes.
They played on. So what's the significance on the summer teams that they play?
What?
Is there any significance there?
Well, and now after the study, then I can, and it's still ongoing, but the significance was to find out, because I remember I only did 2018 2 days ago, and 4 was was attributed to Texas Pro. Well, I wanted to see if that 4 was high, low, or right around the norm of a team from year to year, because normally the sneaker sponsored teams is probably going to have the most, because they're going to have the more proportion of Division I prospects. You see? Now, Chris Walker, his Texas Boys Athletic Club, they were not sneakers sponsored per se, but Chris Walker at the time, a lot of people didn't realize, he had signed the Under Armour consulting deal. So they didn't sponsor the team, but the team was kind of, it was right there where they were, it was a gray area. So I did the list. Bottom line, in case you didn't pay attention, in the 5 different years, there were 5 different teams, summer teams, who took the mantle of having the most Division I transfers.
Okay, so it changed every year.
Every single year. And no team had that mantle twice.
Well, I got another question. Who's going to win this game tonight?
Well, Golden State would be the favorite easily tonight. And the thing is, Toronto has 2 options, 2 chances to win.
Golden State favorite tonight.
What do you mean? Why would they not be favored tonight?
Half the team is on the mass unit.
That would have stopped them before. Then that would be the reason.
So you telling me this team that good?
Absolutely.
That they got arguably the best player out in the world out. Arguably the second best shooter out. Come on, Jimmy. Wait a minute. All of it, 4 or 5 Jimmy, we got 6 or 7 people out.
What's 6 or 7 people out? Name the 6 or 7 people.
Jimmy, Looney is out.
Name the 6 or 7. That's one.
Looney is out, right?
Yeah, that's one out. He's out. Name me 6 or 7.
I can keep. Let me go. Who else out? Somebody else is out.
I'm waiting on 6 or 7.
What 3 is enough?
Boy.
You sit over there and sniggle. I'm sitting up here telling you the best player on the planet is out.
I thought you said Steph Curry was the best player. Didn't you tell me Steph Curry was the best player?
To me. But you know, okay, don't play with it. How in the hell, since you're going to say, how are these people our favorite? You said they're favorite.
Yeah. But you know why? Because everybody knows that Kawhi Leonard is not at 100%. And that goes into the equation. There's no way that Toronto can beat these guys 4 games with their main guy not at 100%. So it's a matter of, remember, for those who say they're going to go 6.
They had 31 points the other game, man.
Okay, that let you know if he was 100%, he had 51. Understand, he's not 100%.
He averaged for 20-something in the season. I know we got to wrap it up.
And so, but hey, man, guess what, boy? Tomorrow we're gonna recap this game. Kyle Lowry says he vows to do more. We're going to see. Says he vows to do more. Kyle Lowry, he's been cardboard. Wet cardboard. But anyway, guys, it's time to yabba do this thing. Get up out of here. Make sure you're driving your vehicles. Be safe out there. It is very, very bad on the roads right now in the greater Houston area. But anyway, on behalf of Robert Hallis, this is Jim Hicks. Coming up next, we got the Al Rucker Show. Going to take you for the next 4 hours. Guess what? Pretty good, guys. Pretty good. You want to hang in there and check that out as well. But we'll see you in 22 hours. We're out of here. Chop Shop.
KHSX.
Absolutely.
Power 101.5.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please.